2016 first quarter, what's going on in the real estate market? I'm going to dive in really specifically today just for a quick overview on supply, demand, benchmark pricing, and how that's affecting the real estate market. This first graph I want to show you is a really simple representation of what's going on in the market, and it brings back some some information from high school. Supply and demand. This is a very basic concept, but this chart shows that relationship very clearly. We can see that as sales are high and inventory levels are lower, that benchmark price stays fairly strong. Now we saw in October, benchmark price started to decline, and that was a couple reasons that played into that. One was the unemployment rates. Secondly was just the general uncertainty surrounding the real estate market going into a traditionally slow time of year, which is the fall market. And lastly, again, that relationship between sales demand and supply. Now, into 2016, we're seeing sales levels are increasing, but conversely, we're also seeing supply levels increasing. One of the key metrics that you'll want to keep track of if you're interested in this is those two numbers moving forward. So as we get into April and this spring market comes into full swing, what are the sales and how is that comparing to inventory levels? Because if that difference stays fairly wide, then we can speculate that prices may continue to stay a little bit softer for the next month or a couple months. Now this next graph just basically shows a more detailed analysis of the numbers in terms of new listings and inventory. So again, keeping track of those numbers is going to be really interesting in the next couple months to see how that performs. So what does this all mean if you're a buyer thinking about buying in this market, and what does it mean if you're a seller thinking of selling? Well, as a buyer, it means you've got lots of selection, which is great because you can be picky. It also means that you have a higher chance of finding a great property for a great price. And if you're buying for the long term, this next few months may be a really excellent time for you. Now, for a seller, it's always about education. Educate yourself on how your property in your specific area are affected by these numbers, because this is the general market, the general blanket covering the market. But we know, and some sellers are very surprised to learn, that their particular product in a specific neighborhood, the odds of selling is actually higher because of that specific area or some other details around that property. So educate yourself. I hope you found this interesting and helpful. If you want more information, click on the link for the full Calgary real estate report. If you've got questions, reach out to me, and I will see you next Tuesday. Have a great day.